The rain had been falling for 3 days straight in the small town of Black Hollow, Pennsylvania. The streets were quiet, the sky was gray, and the ground was soft enough to dig through like wet clay. Daniel Carter, a 38-year-old construction worker, stood alone in his backyard holding a shovel. A shovel. His boots were covered in mud, and his breath turned into fog in the cold evening air. He wasn't digging for fun. He wasn't building anything. He was digging because he heard something. At first it had been a faint sound, a slow, dull tapping, like someone knocking from underground. Daniel told himself it was probably a pipe or a trapped animal, but the sound kept coming back every night at exactly 2:17 a.m. Tap, tap. The same rhythm, the same place, right under the old oak tree behind his house. Night one, the first night he heard it, Daniel ignored it. He rolled over in bed, pulled the blanket tighter, and tried to sleep. But the tapping grew louder. Tap, tap, tap. It sounded deliberate, not random, not natural. Finally, Daniel grabbed a flashlight and walked outside. The rain had just started, and the backyard was dark except for the weak beam of his light. He stood still, listening. Nothing. The silence felt heavy, like the air itself was holding its breath. Daniel shook his head and went back inside, convincing himself it was just his imagination. Night two, the next night, the sound returned. This time louder, more urgent. Tap, tap. Daniel sat up in bed, his heart pounding. He checked the clock. 2:17 a.m., the exact same time. He grabbed his flashlight again and stepped outside. The rain had stopped, but the ground was soaked. He walked toward the oak tree slowly, his boots squishing in the mud. Then he heard it again, right beneath his feet. Tap. Daniel froze. The sound came from directly under the soil. His stomach twisted. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. Only silence. Only silence. The decision to dig by the third night, Daniel couldn't take it anymore. The tapping started again at 2:17 a.m., just like before. This time, it was faster, more desperate. Tap, 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 tap. Daniel jumped out of bed, grabbed his shovel, and stormed outside. Rain poured down in heavy sheets, soaking him within seconds, but he didn't care. He walked straight to the oak tree and drove the shovel into the ground. Thud. The sound echoed strangely, as if the soil was hollow underneath. Daniel hesitated. Then he dug again, and again, and again, and again. Mud flew into the air as the hole grew deeper. 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet. The tapping stopped. Something was down there. Daniel leaned on his shovel, breathing hard. The rain slowed to a drizzle. The night grew quiet, too quiet. Then, scratch. The sound came from inside the hole. Daniel's heart skipped. He pointed the flashlight downward. The beam revealed wet soil, roots, and something else. A piece of wood, old and cracked. It looked like part of a box. Daniel brushed away more dirt with his hands. Slowly, the shape became clear. It was a coffin, buried deep beneath his backyard. The discovery, Daniel stepped back, staring at the coffin in shock. He had lived in this house for 6 years. No one had ever mentioned anything about a grave. His mind raced. Maybe it was from an old cemetery. Maybe it was abandoned property. But then he noticed something strange. The wood wasn't rotten. It looked new. And the tapping sound started again. From inside the coffin. Tap, tap, tap. Daniel felt a wave of cold fear wash over him. There was no way. No one could be alive in there. No one. Opening the coffin, very instinct told Daniel to run. But curiosity held him in place. Slowly, he climbed down into the hole. His hands trembled as he brushed away the remaining dirt from the lid. The rain stopped completely. The world became silent. Daniel placed his fingers on the edge of the coffin and pushed. The lid creaked open with a long, painful groan. Inside, he saw darkness. Deep, endless darkness. Then, 2 pale hands shot upward. They grabbed his wrists with terrifying strength. Daniel screamed. The thing inside the hands were cold. Not just cold, dead cold. Daniel tried to pull away, but the grip tightened. Slowly, a face emerged from the coffin. Its skin was gray. Its eyes were wide open. Its mouth stretched into a twisted smile. The creature looked human, but something was terribly wrong. Its chest didn't move. It wasn't breathing, yet it was alive. The smell hit Daniel next. Rotting flesh mixed with wet earth. He gagged. The creature tilted its head, studying him. Then it spoke. In a whisper. "You finally found me." The truth Daniel's mind spun. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice shaking. The creature's smile widened. "I was buried alive." The words echoed in the darkness. Daniel felt his blood run cold. "How long?" he whispered. The creature blinked slowly. "Long enough to forget the sun." Suddenly its grip tightened again. "You took too long." The chase with a violent jerk, the creature pulled itself out of the coffin. Its body moved in unnatural, jerky motions, bones cracked as it stood upright. Daniel scrambled backwards, slipping in the mud. The creature climbed out of the hole slowly. Its eyes never left him. Then it began to walk. Not run. Walk. Steady. Patient. Like it knew he couldn't escape. Daniel turned and sprinted toward the house. His boots pounded against the wet ground. He reached the back door and slammed it shut behind him. And over the said, did lock, chain, deadbolt. His chest heaved as he pressed his back against the door. Silence. For a moment, everything was still. Then, knock. A slow, heavy knock echoed through the house. Daniel stared at the door in terror. Another knock followed. Then another knock, 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 knock. The same rhythm he had heard underground. 2:17 a.m. Every night. Daniel backed away slowly. His hands shook uncontrollably. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The room grew cold, and the knocking stopped. Relief washed over him for a brief second, until he heard a voice behind him, soft, whispering, right next to his ear. You dug too deep. Daniel turned slowly. The creature stood inside the house, mud dripping from its body, eyes glowing in the darkness, smiling, waiting. The last thing Daniel heard before everything went black was the sound of a shovel hitting the ground outside, and a new voice calling from beneath the earth, tap, 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 tap.